番だ。
Alright, so in this one I do want to say happy holidays, Merry Christmas. I know it is later in the day when this video is coming out, but happy holidays, Merry Christmas. I hope you had a good one and or having a good one to wrap up the day and or had a good one if the day is already over for you. And in this one, I personally just woke up like 2 seconds ago, like quite literally 2 seconds ago. I set up this ring light, I was like, alright, let's go, because I overslept, right? Just shit happens. In this one, I do want to spread some joy, and I've been thinking about it a little bit here with Legends and what they've implemented during this Legends Festival. And by the way, we do have, I guess I could touch on it here, a new reveals and stuff coming in a few days here. Actually saying that it's part 2, I guess, because they considered the 4s and the Vegeta Trunks as part 1. I guess both are tag units, so I guess I could understand that. A little bit goofy, in my opinion, but nonetheless, we do have revealed stuff coming on the 27th at 9 a.m. That is going to mean that we are getting probably happy bags. They could delay it technically, but probably happy bags on the 27th that day, and then also in the night of that reset, which would be the 28th, we would get the new Ultra, we get the new everything that's coming out. We're actually not getting Toshi as presenter, we're getting Kai, the fellow that usually presents alongside Toshi's, which is very interesting. It makes me think it's going to be a shorter video because it's just going to be an Ultra, happy bags, okay, boom, 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 throw that shit out there and be nice things. But who knows, we will see when that does happen. At least we're getting a bit of stuff which people didn't even expect us to get, so that's nice. But I do want to talk about the diversity of meta, and again, this is a joyous occasion, right? Joyous day, at least when this video is getting recorded. And I think talking about some goodness that is being spread in Legends is fair to do, and it is something that should be done as often as it possibly can be. That's in a full, honest manner, right? You could say, oh, well, this was good, but everything else is complete shit. And that's kind of where we're at right now, but the good thing that's happening here is at least something that is most important, right? What I'm referring to is meta. Now, I have said for a little bit here, a couple of days at this point, that the meta is in the best spot it has been since all 2022. 2022 wrapping up here in a couple of days. I feel like this is a broad claim, and it seems more accurate than inaccurate because we could scroll down, right? We can go all the way back up until right when, if I could find the actual unit, hello? Where is USG? Hello, USG? Where are you? Since where USG dropped, and everything in between there is going to be from this year all the way to where we are now to this EX Vegeta, right? So we can scroll down and look through. Everything from USG, once again, will be the metas we experience. So during X20, Bardock, nothing really changed. During Jiren and all of that, nothing really changed. The biggest like shift that we did experience, I guess we got some LOE stuff, seen in PvP more with the Revza and all that stuff, but like not as much as we saw with AGF, right? The biggest change was Ultra Kaioken. We got green, green, yellow while he was on feature boost, and that was all that really happened there. Then AGF kind of LOE getting its shine sprite happening, revisited, I guess you could say. And then we got some stuff, right? Afterwards, we had the androids, which just made everything kind of obsolete from prior 2 months. Especially even not fully Ultra Gogeta, but like Bardock, Jiren, both Rush esque units. Like one's literally dependent on Rush, one has an ally dead, so he gets endurance, and yet this unit was just godly gassed, so they were just broken beyond belief. So nothing concrete in a meta stance, nothing too fun at a meta stance right there, right? We only have like 1 or 2 teams, green, green, yellow, LOE, and then once we got the droids dropped, you just kind of leaded the droids everywhere, right? Nothing really crazy happened from Ultra Gogeta to where we are already looking at right now. And then we get to Anniversary. We have MUI. We do have a little bit of resurgence of a, I wouldn't say Sun Family, but I would say God Key Sun Family mix type of thing going on there. We have Dragonfish who comes out, again another Sun Family character, which gives a more of a resurgence for the tags that I just previously stated. Movie's also getting a big buff with that Dragonfist and Tapion. Then Ultra Vegito drops, right? We get the resemblance of a very good fusion roster with Ultra Vegito, Ultra Gogeta, and VB. That dies down a little bit quickly, but it still exists, right? We get Dragonfist with Tapion, who's very good on boost. That becomes a movie duo. And then with MUI, we kind of get him just being around and being annoying and being as good as he is. All these units, though, unfortunately, data fade very fast. Ultra Vegito with Cooler coming out, Dragonfist without the boost was very much bad, and then MUI ended up becoming a more obsolete than not character. not necessarily because anything specific, but his teams just didn't get the buffs that he needed. So again, you have all these situations in past metas that was just, like, we had decent stuff, like during Anniversary, we had decent stuff, we had fusions, we had movies, we had kind of Sun Family, God Key type of mix there, we had 3 teams, but it's like, they didn't really stay for as long as you would hope for, right? Maybe the Anniversary Headliner team stayed the longest, but that team was just all boost. It was all gimmicks. It wasn't really like, that team's very concrete, it's a very good trio. Nah, it was just kind of, yeah, it's here! It's all boosted, so they're good. But that's really all it was, right? So nothing has stayed concrete just throughout this year as like a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 meta-dominant team. Not saying right now is, but I'm saying it's been more concrete than it has been, and it probably will age better. Again, continuing through the year, we go through LF Trunks, no impact. Hybrids were already going to be what Hybrids became. After LF Trunks came, he had no impact, nothing from there. Mecha, already buffing LOE, that was already getting buffed, so LOE was kind of returning back to their graces and, you know, staying as high as they were. Nothing too crazy, but they were still staying as high as they were, but they still have the issue they have today, which is no strike defense and all blast attack, which is going to make them very fragile. LF Cooler drops, movies becomes number 1. Alright, awesome. So you have some LOE running around, maybe you have some attempted future running around because LF Trunks, because Goku Black, it wasn't very high. If there was any future running around, it was very, very, very low, especially in comparison to now. And then you also had Broly drop alongside, well, a little bit after, actually. Cooler, so you also had movies just getting another buff, so it was just more or less dominant movies. It was Ultra Gogeta, Cooler, and then Broly, or it would be somebody else's that third unit, but it would be Ultra Gogeta, Cooler, and then blah 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 for those units. Sometimes you would try USV with Ultra Gogeta, sometimes you would try a little bit more diversity with Cooler existing. Right before Beast, where Cooler existed, it was very diverse in the sense of these units were gaining more value, but it wasn't a very diverse meta-based team. It was like, okay, I literally slot this blue instead of this blue, because one's Super Saiyan, one's not. That was kind of diversity, right? So it was like Majin Vegeta being tried on LOE with like LFSA and Cooler, right? It was VB being tried with Super Saiyan Blue Green Vegeta, and I don't know, whoever else was that third unit. You had these attempted different teams, and in all reality, they all just went to the same basis of, we're not a Super Saiyan, Cooler can't fuck us over, and that's kind of our roundabout way. It wasn't the full team being diverse, it was more, hey, here's just slapped on a very good unit against Cooler, on these teams that are already having a good foundation. Again, MV on LOE was a very good foundation team because LFSA, very good unit, spawning blue cards, spawning them for MV was very smart, and then Cooler just being already as good as he is, being number 1 when he came out, that was just a good foundation. MV was just slapped there because he fit for the meta, right? Nothing really was a concrete new-esque team. And then we hit the superhero era, or what we like to call the Legends Fest Part 1. I mean, Part 0.5, maybe, if you want to be generous, where Beast, Gohan, Pan, and Mr. Piccolo drop, and with that, we had zero diversity. We went from, you know, some stuff, trying to attempt different teams, then we went straight to superhero team, we went straight to hybrids, and we went straight to, that's it. And you could say superhero team and hybrids, hey, that's diverse, right? It's 2 different teams. No. You have the same core 2 units on the same teams, right? It's still these 2 just being everywhere. Honestly, superhero team wasn't even that good. It was just that Piccolo was very good with that first arts on boost. And I guess he's still okay in damage today, but it's like, you still have the same 2 units, right? So no diversity has fully fledged itself and stayed for a good second. And it feels like what we're seeing now, and maybe I could be wrong, maybe they won't stay as long as they will, but it seems like these units' values have good aging behind them, right? You can think of Dragon Fist, well, he was auto-spawned with Tapion and a Zenkai buffer when his initial release came out, right? So that's why he kind of didn't stay. MUI just needs better teams. Ultra Vegito just needs support type Ultra Fusion, or just, honestly, any fusion that support types with him. That's, I don't know, maybe a green color synergy-wise, right? So you just have maybe 1 bad or 2 aging things that happened in the past, and here, I mean, the 4s feel like they'll age well. 17 feels like he'll age well. Vegeta Trunks feel like they'll age bad, but you can't say there is other yellows that are, you know, culpable and runnable. And honestly, I see people run Future, and they run Zamasu, Rosé, and then whatever that third be, whether it be Vegito Blue, Puddle, like, it doesn't matter. There's at least a third there that you don't need to run Vegeta Trunks, because it's more strike-based dependent anyways if you're running Rosé. So, like, you say there's not amazing aging units here, but there is a lot of very good aging aspects to units here. Because you have GT. This is the number 1 team in the game. The utility of GT is beyond crazy with all the sub-counts down, the sub-counts up from 17. The endurance null 17 can offer. I literally had it in video where I got the rush situation. Going for 17, I green carded into main, into lock-in on Zamasu, boom, rushed them. Unfortunately got guessed, but that situation even flowing together as good as 17 can be, and he's the slept-on one of GT. Very good situation there. Legends Fest has definitely provided a good substance of team diversity, because as I keep saying, hey look, there might seem to be more meta diversity in, you know, let me try to run this against Cooler, try to run this as the third unit with Beast, or blah blah blah. That's diversity, but team diversity is a different story. It's a different beast. That was a good pun. I like that. Leave a comment saying pun if you made it to this part of the video. Oh, I'm like an old man. That was a great pun. Holy shit, I love that. I can't get over it. But what we have right now is very actual team diversity. What I mean by this is, what is GT's team? It's the 4s, it's 17, and it's Forku. Could you have Super Baby 2? Sure. Could you have Full Power Super Saiyan 4 Goku? Sure. But you have 3 different units that are all on GT, not running anywhere else as their best setup, and their more wanted setup being run on that team. What else do you have? You have hybrids. You have Pan Beast Puddle, right? You could have maybe LF Trunks, but that's culpable. You're really running Pan Beast Puddle. So you have 2 different teams already. All 6 units are different. They're never run on the same team. Like, never ever. Right? Makes sense. That's good. And then also you could have, like, EX Omega. I just kind of realized him. You could run him also on GT. So there's a lot of diverse options already on GT. And then you do also have the Team of Future, which I kind of touched on. You have Zamasu, you have Vegeta Trunks, you have Rose. Alright, 3 different units. Maybe you could cope and say Puddle can fit on Hybrids and Future. You don't need to do that. Honestly, I don't think it's like a prerequisite. But if you want to run Puddle on Future, sure. But you have at least like 10 to 12 different options of units on 3 different teams that are all different, that don't share most options for the team gaps that they do fill. Now, I think that diversity of meta is very much a more concrete thing with how they're doing things right here, because again, look at Zamasu. Will he age well? Most likely, debuff power on blue card and ultimate, everyone's gonna get a blue card or ultimate, if not both. Like, look at Beast Gohan, bro has both, right? It's really only tag units that don't, but most units will get a blue card and ultimate. And Zamasu being debuffing power 40%, he's going to age well. Vegeta Trunks, again, they might not age well. You have other yellows that'll happen. You have other yellows that are already okay enough. And you also don't even need a yellow on that team. I mean, the yellow's fine, but like you don't need a yellow on Future, right? Again, you're more strike-based anyways. They're more blast-based. You can kind of argue them. They don't exist and care as much for what the game's kind of pushing with the team diversity, because they're just kind of off-centered. They're really not here until they get more blast-based units alongside them, or like Purple Vegeta, or like Halo Zenkai, right? You kind of want these things going alongside them. Super Saiyan 4s. I mean, look, I understand they're on boost. I understand they're very good right now on boost, but I don't see a big gap with them happening anytime soon. I think they will retain at least a top 10 position. I think GT will still be pretty solid after all 3 of these units, well, 2 of these units, because LF4 while he's on boost like 8%. I think the 4s, 17 and 4Q will retain a high position, if not at least fucking Omega at this point. Will retain a high position, all maybe making top 10. 17 I can see dipping out of top 10 for sure, because we might just get some bonker shit coming up soon. But with how the game is right now, as of this date of December 25th, wait, it is December 25th, right? I never know the date of Christmas. Yeah, December 25th, this is like a good standstill for GT. They have the most utility. Their utility can't really die out. Like, you can't kill utility, right? That's something that's always going to age well. Cooler's utility, against going against Super Saiyans and going neutral against them, is phenomenal. It'll never age badly. Maybe the unit will be bad in certain metas when there's not that happening, but their utility of the 4s being cover rescuable twice, being sub-count down by 10, being sub-count up with 17, being the auto blue cards, every new combo basically, because you're going from Vegeta to 4Q, and it's always happening very consistently. They cover and all they get when there's 3 people remaining. Like, these comeback potential mechanics that they do have, and the things alongside it, they're all very good aging. While their damage might be a little bit lacking in the future, that's definitely something that's gonna, you know, be problematic, but we're not there. We're at the point of they have all this utility, they still have good damage alongside it, and I think everything from there will flow gracefully in their period, unlike, you know, Mr. Dragonfist, who's always auto-run with support. Again, that's kind of my best go-to situation. He was auto-run with Tapion, who's a great support. He was auto-run with the Zenkai buff, which is, again, gas. You're not auto-running the 4s with the Zenkai buff. You're not auto-running a support. You're not even running a support. Like LF4Ku, what does he get, 15% support? when enemy swaps to allies, and that's like, it's 15%, bro. Like, that's literally what feature boost support is. I'm pretty sure it's like 5% less, actually. He's not giving much. And you're not always Zenkai buffing the 4s. You could. You definitely can. Super 17 is a good Z ability. Full power Super Saiyan for Goku, I guess, if you want to. But, like, you don't have to always Zenkai buff the 4s there. So, I would say they more or less will age okay. 17 will age pretty well. I think his Dragon Ball Instruction will really carry him. His green card stuff will really carry him. He will get some snipes situations still able to be done. And also tank very well. And then the other units, I mean, again, Zamasu looking like a top 3 unit up there. It's just very good stuff that's going on technically right now, and even more so the off-meta, like, the units that aren't fully meta, like top 10, but like top 15, top 20, also have some shine. Like, you could look at it, okay, maybe the droids will have a little bit of shine, maybe, who else? LF Trunks could have a little bit of shine, because there's not many purples running around, right? So you do have these alternate options on these teams, like, okay, do I want to run Vegeta Trunks? Do I want to run Puddle with them? No, I could run, you know, maybe the androids, Vegeta Trunks, Zamasu. I could run that. Have the endurance nullification, have more blast base set up there. So even these alternate option units who usually just don't have any value at all, like there'd be just 10 million negatives to running them, they only have like maybe still their few negatives they had, but they flow well with the meta-based, just best units of the meta, that it honestly just works in a really nice manner. And again, this is the gas Legends kind of need. You know, this has not been a thing for a good minute. Again, Anniversary was the closest we got to it this year, and even then, it wasn't fully concrete, because once we got the androids coming out, which really did not take long, because they came out pre, it just kind of, it halted things, right? I mean, you look at where the androids came, you had red, purple as the best team, at some point PvP when MUI was boosted, and it was literally the androids just carrying everything, and the mechanics were MUI can auto dodge and stall, and then you had respawn and greens. Like that was what the meta was, and it was really just a toxic, cancerous time. Movies try to contest that with Dragon Quest and Tapion. That was the thing they tried to. They didn't really fully succeed, to be fair, because they didn't have something that was this godly essence that was stopping everything. I mean, they had Ultra Gogeta, but like, was he able to stop the androids as consistently as they could stop him? They were like a 50-50 toss-up type situation there, right? Because obviously 18 could just appear and bother the shit out of you. And then Ultra Vegito, well, he did help make Ultra Gogeta, Ultra Vegito, Vegito Blue be a setup that did work out nicely and did work out okay enough. It's just that it didn't last long enough. Like, again, you have Cooler that came out, what, 2 months later, and it's like, the diversity we were almost heading towards, we kind of just killed it all off with Cooler dropping, and it's kind of weird to say Cooler killed diversity when nowadays Cooler's not even revered as like a top 15 unit, which is, it's crazy, because it's true. It's true, he's not. Maybe top 20, but like, it's fucking crazy how I went from this unit being countered by this unit, and then this unit just got countered 1 week, 2 weeks later by this guy, and it's like, oh, like, no more Super Saiyans are out. Like, you didn't have to run Puddle, right? People ran, who was their alternate option? They would run, because they were scared of Cooler still, and there was no need to be, but like, people were still scared of Cooler to an extent. It was Blue GT Pan. She's Zenkai. People ran blue, red when Cooler was in any matchup. Even if he didn't come into the match, they ran it because Beast and Pan were so good together. Then you had GT Pan, just had that off option, no Super Saiyan there. Cooler just loses all his value because people were trying to cope Cooler, right? He was #1. People were trying to cope him. It makes sense, but there was no there was no way to cope them, and at least with the 4s being as good as they are as a team-based unit, they're better than Beast in a team setting, because Beast team is literally just double support, endurance, and then, hey, oonga boonga damage, go crazy, go nuts type of shit, but that can only get you so far when you have so much utility. Obviously, if you play better, yeah, that crazy damage will carry you, but I feel like it's a lot easier for the 4s to get out of sticky spots, 4Ku to get out of sticky spots, 17 to get out of sticky spots, in comparison to Beast Gohan, to not get like auto caught 24/7. Like, it's hard to avoid getting caught that often, even if he does get vanished in a lot of ways. It's just genuine hardness to do, and the 4s have all that utility to kind of make that situation catching Beast Gohan a lot easier, right? So I would say this is a thumbs up to Legends. Again, the festival has been pretty mediocre, pretty bad, to be real. I won't thrash it that much. I just thrashed it literally like 2 days ago, but it's been pretty bad in the situation of every other based content, but the diversity of PvP, the things they've allowed for people to actually enjoy the game in a more broad aspect of PvP has been nice. Even the banners, like, we gotta touch on this real quickly. The banners are very good and worth summoning on, because you can just scroll down very quickly. Dragon Fist, not ideal, but he's okay enough, right? He's not the worst thing in the world. He's definitely not like it's not LF Beerus on the banner, it's Dragon Fist. Like, it's good enough. Trunks, you can honestly cope him and run him with LF Rose, Zamasu, and then LF Trunks, right? You could run Puddle, LF Trunks, and then Rose. Like, you could run these trios that are very much more strike-based future and do very well. Like, LF Trunks is still a very good unit. It's just that he has a flaw in him that's very underperforming for him and just underwhelming for a whole scenario. But he's still very good, right? LF Rose, probably a top 10 unit, minimum like top 15. Droids gaining their value a little bit because of Future getting buffed with a blast-based unit. They would probably be like a top 15 unit. Zamasu top 3, and then Puddle being like this top 6, 7, 8 unit that's still in the game. And even the Fours banner, Furuku, this guy's a top 5 unit, MUI, probably in the realm like 20 through 25 there. G4, ass, we gotta ignore him, right? He's kind of like the Dragon Fist of the banner as well. Bardock, probably a top 25 unit. 17, like a top 7, 8 unit, maybe even a little bit higher. Jiren, probably like a top 20 unit as well. So these banners do have incredible value on top of having the actual headliners of the banners being, look, top 1 unit, just team-wise, top 1 unit right here. Then this one, I don't know, top 6. I wouldn't say that's bad. Like, I understand you want it to be better than an LF Zenkai or better than a support type unit. I understand that. Defense type technically by Zamasu, but support type by Pan. I understand that, but they can't always scale units to be as good as this last unit, or this X best unit, or this Y best unit. Like, they can't always scale that. I understand that. I don't have a gripe with that. I think that's actually good that they're doing that, because if they make every unit as good as their last best unit, well, how do we even use the units that were even worse than them? And they're getting worse than those new units, right? There's no progression there for the other units. It gives them no value. But with Vegeta Trunks not being as high and mighty as maybe the Fours, or even Beast Gohan as individual units, it actually does hold the value of the other units in a normal standard. Like, LF Trunks, if you were like 10 leagues below Vegeta Trunks as like a solo kit, well, you wouldn't really value LF Trunks as highly, right? You would say, okay, I guess he's there, he exists, he's probably a good sub option, but like, you would think he's just a little bit better off now because Vegeta Trunks isn't that far ahead. Like, every unit feels in a realm of similarity that's older in comparison to Vegeta Trunks. Like, look at Rose. You would think, okay, he's not that great. Well, at least Vegeta Trunks aren't this overwhelming god that made Rose irrelevant. They actually keep his relevancy because Vegeta Trunks weren't so broken that they killed every purple to ever exist. There's not many existing right now, but at least the one that does exist doesn't get slaughtered out by this god tier yellow, kind of like the Fours are slaughtering most blue units, right? Because what's your blue unit running into? Beast Gohan only. Well, that's the only type neutral unit that's running around that's a blue unit, right? So I'm happy with how Vegeta Trunks was done in a full manner, not for themselves, not for the actual festival hype, but like how they have affected the teams in PvP. It's a very thin line to walk. Do you want this unit to be mediocre and in comparison to the other unit that came alongside, or do you want it to be a god that kind of ruins stuff, but in whole reality, hey, you kind of want them to be really good. And they kind of hit a fine line where Vegeta Trunks isn't bad, they're not amazing, but they're right there where they give other units more value. Prior to Vegeta Trunks, you didn't see much value coming out of anybody that wasn't a hybrid or a GT character that was new. So Vegeta Trunks, they hit a line, they did it right. I'm shocked how they did it right, but they definitely did it right. And I also gotta mention, Bro's back. This unit's still like top 15. Like, please understand that. Like, his potential to be like top 3 is still existent, like crazily. And it's very shocking, actually, that he's back. And then we'll probably get the Ultra while this guy's banner's up. So it makes me assume, hey, Ultra Gogeta is clearly not returning. People are saying double Ultras. I would say, if any Ultra returns, it would make sense for USV. Not because of his time, being gone, but we had MUI come back, we had Dragon Fist come back. That's the other anniversary headliner character that could come back, right? So I guess Ultra Gogeta returning would be too good. That's why they dropped him here. And so like, okay, if they do return Ultra, it ain't gonna be Ultra Gogeta, right? But yeah, I'm pretty content with how PvP is right now. I think the diversity of it is very much more a kind manner than not. I think you're not seeing Beast every match. I think you're not seeing the Fours every match. Honestly, I'm seeing Future more than GT, while GT is like probably the best utility-based team, right? Yeah, I mean solo-based team, I guess, technically, because their Fours can come back potential is really high, but Beast Gohan does outclass them in that situation, just individually though, right? So I'm happy with it. I think this is a good spot for Legends. I think they can only shoot up and hopefully not shoot themselves in the foot during the situation. I hope when I make this and a few days later the Ultra comes out and they're not something that's just going to ruin everything they worked hard to put into this Legends Fest to make the meta diverse. I hope that does occur. I hope good things moving forward could occur. And just to say, if CMZ had his plat done correctly, he would be discussed here. It's just, God damn it, Legends, you ain't fucking do that. Like, CMZ, you could have run blue, red, purple. CMZ, LF Rosé, Zamasu. That actually would have been really, really good because you have Nullify Endurance a lot consistently do that, and there's a lot of endurance running around. Even more so than that, CMZ also has an AoE green, which locks in with the rush out 4Q type beat, you know? That's kind of a thing he could have done, but unfortunately he was done improper with his plat. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. They tried their best, I guess, technically. I mean, it's kind of like Vegeta Chunks. They could have made them better, could have made it a lot worse, so it is what it is. But let me know what you guys think of the overall meta. I'm in a very content and more happy spot than not with this meta. I think it is one of the best, if not the best, of 2022. And yeah, again, enjoy the rest of your night if it is your holiday you are celebrating, and if it's already over, well, hope you had a good one. If you're celebrating future holidays, I know there's holidays after the 25th, right? Not New Year's included, just holidays in between the dates. Enjoy those, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.